Manchester United's Marcus Rashford has reportedly rejected 3 offers from Saudi Pro League clubs. That's not exactly true. He's just made it clear that he's not going to go to Saudi, and he did that in the summer. Yeah. And Michael Emenalo has been trying to come up with a deal. It's not clubs that actually make the approach. It's the league that make the approach. The clubs actually haven't got the slots at the moment for another foreign player, so they've had to have adjusted a few things around to get him in, but he's not up for it anyway. There's this talk about Napoli, though, isn't there? And there is more legs in that one, do we think?
Yeah, there's certainly substance to that. Antonio Conte is someone who has tracked Rashford in the past, but I think financially it's difficult because the whole reason they loaned out Victor Osimhen was because they were paying him more money than they could afford. So I think United would have to pick up the slack in terms of wages.
Yeah, there was a big falling out with Osimhen, so he didn't want to play there anymore.
But wages were a problem as well. So I think unless Osimhen is part of the deal, and that's a possibility because United have shown an interest in him in the past, then I think for Rashford to make a move like that, United would have to do what Chelsea do and Raheem Sterling and top up the wages.
Do you think that Osimhen deal is a good deal for United?
I'm torn. Listen, he's obviously got talent. We watched him, didn't we, against Tottenham in the Europa League, absolutely terrorised them. But he does come with baggage. Yeah. And I just wonder if that's the type of character that Ruben Amorim needs in the dressing room. If you're getting rid of one supposed bad apple in Rashford, do you really want to bring someone else in who
don't they need a senior
issues?
Leader, though? Don't they need someone with a bit of experience and a bit of nous about them?
Yeah, but I think bigger than that, they need someone or players with a certain type of engine and legs and abilities to run. So you probably say that's a younger market that they're looking in. I think when
they have younger centre forwards, don't they? They have 2 young centre forwards. They need someone. I said to Crook earlier, they need an Ibrahimovic character to come in and just lead those younger players to the right path.
Yeah, they're few and far between.
They are few and far between. But I also think that as well, it's like I say, I keep seeing these similarities. I know we've got to have Phil on it shortly, the agent, and I always think January is an older market anyway. If you look, people go and get tried and tested, don't they? Get that. We need to fix that now. Get that short-term fix. And I just think with how they are, it's like Arsenal. He's building the culture. Okay. He's got to want younger people that he can mould.
Okay, well, we will speak to Phil Smith, football agent, in just a second about why January is so notoriously hard to do deals in. We'll do that next.
Talk to me about Marcus Rashford, Phil, because obviously I think he's going to be a player that is going to fill column inches and bulletins right throughout the month of January. There's talk that Napoli are interested. I understand there is substance to that, and that potentially they could offer Victor Osimhen in some kind of loan swap deal. But you don't get many swap deals, do you? Particularly in January. Why are they so difficult to do?
Well, for the reasons of salaries, ongoing salaries and contracts that you're having to pick up on to begin with. Funnily enough, I mean, you could almost have a transfer window programme each day on Manchester United at the moment, which is so in vogue. But actually, that might be a very sensible suggestion for Marcus to get back playing in a good league with a chance of winning something as well. And Osimhen, I never understood why he went to Turkey. In truth, nothing detrimental about the Turkish league, but he's a bigger player than that. And that might be something that will suit both. But a loan doesn't appeal to seasoned pros, and as you well know, because it looks like it's something that's a part-time fix rather than something they should be doing with a view to the future. So they're very, very difficult. But both are on a lot of money. Their respective clubs can probably afford it. Manchester United can, maybe. I'm not so sure about Napoli.
Has football made a rod for its own back, especially some of these top clubs, by giving these contracts out now, which are huge in terms of length? I mean, you look at the Cole Palmer situation, he's tied up to 2031. Look at John Duran, 2030. You know, it's okay right now, and it looks a good deal at this moment because both those two players are performing. But the Marcus Rashford story is a bit of a cautionary tale, isn't it? Because football fortunes and form can switch very quickly. And if you are in a scenario in 2 years down the track, and I hope it doesn't happen to either of those two players, where a player's form completely drops off, or the relationship with whoever is going to be the manager, and this is another thing, the managers don't stick around for as long as that anywhere, then you're saddled with a player on a huge wage and a huge contract, which is almost impossible now to get rid of, especially with these financial regulations that have come in. As the market almost got to grow up a little bit and mature into the new climate.
You've looked at what Chelsea was sort of the standard bearer for doing the long contracts because they're amortising their spend over that period of time. You never know what contractual breaks might be within that particular playing contract, but at the same time, it's they're really putting a rod on their own back for that. It's a tough one because the clubs want the value of the player, but there again they want to spread the cost. So I think it's more for exceptional players. For Cole Palmer, you might think it's really good business. A lot of contracts now don't really see. Troy will see this, and I mean in the lower divisions, and you would have been dealing with that. These players are on 1 year contracts almost at best, and there may be an option for a second year. And I was watching the Salford programme on Sky, and it's these players are playing game by game for their futures. So I don't think you can look at it as the norm with what Chelsea are doing, maybe even Manchester United. But they need to do that to have the protection against what may be ahead in the market.
Yeah, Phil, I've just got one kind of long-winded question, but do you see like the big money moves that we used to see, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago in January being phased out now, and all the big deals being done earlier on in the summer window, and now more loans and short-term fixes in this market?
Yes, you're spot on with that, but the loans have become mini transfers, and they're taking over almost in the summer, season-long loans. You just had Ronnie Edwards, who went to Southampton from Peterborough, which was thought of as a progressive move in the summer. How many games has he played? Well, I can tell you, none. And now he's gone to QPR on loan. So, that's what some players have to do to move themselves on and take them up a level. I think the big contracts, there aren't any small contracts anymore. I remember we did a couple for Chelsea with Ken Bates 10 years ago, whatever it was. Oh, let's go and take this player for 500,000. Let's go and take this player for $1 million. We can always sell them again. Well, the 500,000 has become 5 million, and the $1 million has become 10 million. So what's a small deal anymore? We did this. I mean, we had a classic one at this time of the year, which was Andrei Arshavin when he came to Arsenal, and actually 17 million at the time seemed to be a lot of money. What do you get for 17 million now? Very little. So the clubs have got to be very careful, and then they've got the PSR rules to take into account.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because like you say, the big deals are so now very expensive. Player transfers are really expensive, but yet the PSR constraints means that actually you can't spend as much. So are we in danger of killing the market?
Well, I think Newcastle are the richest club in the world that can't spend any money. And that sort of sums it up partly. It has to be very well managed, and the Manchester City case it gets ever more interesting as time goes on. 115 charges. I mean, how many of them are ever going to be proven, and how do they get round whatever they've done? It's a bit like that bit in the Quadrophenia film, if you can remember that long ago when Sting was in court and he said he was fined a lot of money and said, "Can I pay it now, please?" Well, I don't think Manchester City are going to be dealt with in that way. So what the hell's going to happen? It's and clubs. It'll be a big standard bearer for what's going to happen in the future, unless they can amend the rules. But going back to that point, it's just clubs are going to be they've got to get it right. Nobody, recruitment people, directors of sport can't afford to get it wrong anymore. So you can understand why they want to put deals in place that don't kill them financially.
Phil, just one. I think there's a bit of noise coming out that Spurs need to do something, maybe with a goalkeeper and a few other little areas of the pitch. What do you know about that, mate? Because there's a lot of pressure on Fraser, and obviously the main goal is injured. Will they be looking to do something that you're aware of?
I would have thought that they would need to bring in another keeper. I would have thought he'll keep faith with Fraser Forster, but the way he's playing, he's getting found out a little bit. And is he going to adapt the way that he plays at all? That's yet to be seen. I would have thought they would probably get in another keeper. It depends what they're going to do with Forster in the future. Does he stay beyond this season? Because I don't know how long his contract's got to run. So it may be prudent to get another very good keeper now to compete for the number one spot. Yes.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.